and welcome. And in this video, I want to share with you one of the most impactful and simple practices to keep your nervous system regulated and to really ensure that you are living in a state of energetic alignment. And it's a practice that has come up a lot since the end of 2023 with myself, with my clients, with my partner, with everybody. And I think it's a really significant one to talk about. And that saying is that everything is simple, life is simple, but we as humans tend to make it more challenging. And I truly believe that what I'm about to share with you about neutrality is one of the ways in which we really do make simple things more complicated than they need to be. So what is neutrality? Well, I can share what I have studied and learned about neutrality, and that is making sure that you stay within an energetic spectrum where you're not allowing outside forces to influence your day, your life, your relationships. So you're not really getting yourself super caught up in your thoughts and your ego and letting things become devastating and getting really low, but you're also not seeing, and this is a big one, the world as being something that I'm seeking for bliss all the time, right? So you might have a blissful moment, but when that bliss goes, and you may think that I've got to keep seeking this bliss because when I get to this really big high and I've experienced this really big high, then that's the like mountaintop, right? Like that's the highest place that I can be. And I want to share why this can be a little bit overwhelming and it can create almost like resistance in your body. This to me is being absolutely in a state of just acceptance in the present moment, in the now, in every moment that you're experiencing it. So we are geared to understand from society and from online sources that happiness is something that we seek. And oftentimes that happiness comes from an outside source. It could be the money that you make, or the job that you have, or the partner that you have, or how successful your children are, etc., etc., etc. And so we go on to this wheel or this idea that we have to constantly be seeking happiness from somewhere or something outside of who we are in this very moment. And then when we get to this moment, say like I've launched a book, right? And the book gets a really great review, or my YouTube channel has a video that does really well. And I think that is the status quo, that I'm constantly going to be like, then everything else that I'm doing isn't enough because this number or this stat or this thing represents the highest state of energy that I can be in, which is almost like, for me, it feels almost like a false truth, because it is simply information. It's more great things coming in. It doesn't mean that you don't celebrate and you go like, that's amazing. I'm so excited and proud of myself. But if it becomes a marker in which you then seek a higher value of life based on everything needing to match or be in the same energetic capacity of that, then you're constantly going to be seeking, right? It goes for if you have a low day, right? Or things feel like they're more challenging and you start to believe that is your current reality. And so you start to think that you're stuck there, or things are just the way that is, and can it get any worse? And you begin to believe the storyline or the narrative that things are tough or a struggle or it's hard, and all of these, thoughts and ways in which it feels like life is providing you a certain experience, right? So we can get caught in the high, but we can also get really caught in the low and believing that that's our current reality as well. So what do you do? What do you do to shift from, expecting this high or this happiness or this joy or this life that is like kind of coming in from external sources as being the validation or the reality that you have to constantly seek for that in order to feel successful, loved, or accepted, or, getting a low and thinking, is this the way my life is now? And how do I, accept that this is just the way things are going to be? Well, I want to tell you a really fun exercise that I've been doing for myself for about 1.5 years now. And I've been sharing with people that I work with and with my family, and it has been really profound. So it goes no, right, wrong, good, bad, blame, shame, or criticism. That's the exercise, meaning that no matter what's happening in your life, there is no right or wrong assigned to it. Meaning if somebody's like, oh, you're wrong, right? It doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't create an hierarchical like energy, or it doesn't separate the person who is, I like to be right. Like we all like to be right. Like if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they're like, oh, it's this. And I'm like, nah, it's that. And I will bet money on it. And I'm right. It feels really good for that second. But it's the understanding that there is no right or wrong, which means that you're never separating from this like just generous present moment to think like, ooh, if this person's right, then I'm less than them because I then must be wrong. It's the same thing as good and bad, right? Like if I think that I'm doing something bad, then that means that there's someone else out there that's doing something better than me. And it creates a separation or a feeling or sensation that I am less than because I am doing something worse than somebody else and somebody's doing it better than me. And so this right, wrong, good, bad thing needs to be wiped out from our consciousness right now, like an eraser. And then when we get into this good, bad, right, wrong mentality, then we automatically give our ego almost like ammunition to be criticizing us, right? To blame us or to shame us and to make villains in a story that we are fabricating in our mind that says, oh, if I did something right, then that person is wrong, or this experience is wrong, or there's got to be somebody who is the villain in the narrative if we live in that sense of good, bad, right, wrong. For me, the practice in the last year and a half has been to unhook these stories within myself that say something is good, bad, right, wrong. That gives me the ammunition to shame, blame, or criticize myself. Because once we're no longer utilizing this ammunition in our ego to make us a certain way, then something magical gets to happen. And that magic is we get to begin to live exactly where we are in the moment that we are, not expecting something to be different than what it is. This reminds me of a book that I probably read in 2018, which I will link below if you're interested in it. And it's called Loving What Is by Byron Katie. I don't know if you've ever read it, but she really does, paint this beautiful narrative that you can't actually do anything in your life fulfilling until you truly land in the reality that you are and accept your life exactly as it is in this moment, like literally loving what is. And the first time that I read the book, not gonna lie, it kind of goes over your head a little bit. I was like, I don't understand these principles and these practices fully and completely. But again, once you read something and it almost gets seated in your brain, it keeps coming back over and over and over again to be reflected in your world so that you have an opportunity to be like, oh, now I get it. And now I do. After a year and a half, I think I've started to get it. And so it triggered me really kind of learning this practice was multiple things. One being that I no longer wanted to do the work that I had been doing for years. And, wanting to become a content creator didn't feel natural and it felt shameful for me because how could I be a content creator when I was doing so well as a coach and a healer? And so I made myself wrong and bad. This, impacted my finances. I also had spent a load of money on coaches and programs that I had never paid back. And so I had to file for a consumer proposal last year. And again, I was trying to recognize that in this money story, if I would have made myself wrong about filing for the consumer proposal, then I would have been in shame, blame, and criticism. So I was in the practice, especially where money was concerned, unhooking all of these money stories that, dictated if you file for bankruptcy or you've done a consumer proposal that you've done something wrong in some way. And I started to just finally accept that where I was financially and where I was in my business was just where I was. And it didn't need to make me, the human who is going through it, wrong or bad or good and right. And, I didn't need to be shaming myself or blaming myself or criticizing myself. And when this began to become my reality, that's when things really started to shift for me. And if you know me, you know that I've become quite grounded and quite centered in my current reality. Like my husband has lost his job. We've moved in with his in-laws. And I truly believe that this is the greatest gift that has ever happened to me, that I'm here for a purpose and reason. I no longer feel any discomfort or worry about judgment, about what people are going to think about me, who had a $500,000 business in a year. And now look at me, I'm living with my in-laws and I filed for a consumer proposal. Instead, I just think this is where I am, and I'm gonna like literally suck the marrow of this experience of being with his in-laws and learning who they are, right? They're getting older. Is this our last chance to really spend time and get to know them? Is this time that I'm here an opportunity for me to become the content creator that I've always wanted to be? Like, there is so much miracle and gold in the situation that I'm in right now. And so I want to share this practice with you. I want to offer you this as an opportunity to kind of no longer allow these external forces or what society or other people might think about where you are in your life, and instead give you this opportunity to kind of separate from good, bad, right, wrong, shame, blame, and criticism, and to be in this practice of neutrality, of not seeking some sort of reward or happiness or joy from a source outside of you, and not letting yourself get caught in thinking that where you are, if it's not where you want to be, as being your current reality. Instead, if you can come right here to this neutral state of just loving where you are, no matter what the outside world looks like, it offers you an opportunity to create from this space anything that your heart truly desires, which I get sounds cheesy. I'm cheesy. And it truly is the place of manifestation and creation. This moment, this present moment. It's right here where we're literally just accepting everything as it is, that we create the space and the opportunity and the manifestation, and however you want to see this, for new things to come in. And I'm going to go back to when I was a personal trainer for almost a decade. And one of the greatest lessons that I would give my clients was, you can't seek yourself in the weight loss. You have to love yourself just as you are today and nourish your body because you love it, and celebrate your body because you love it. And it's in that celebration that then the weight loss will occur, or the strength training will manifest on your body. And it's no different in this situation, no matter where you are in your life. Learning to see where you are, exactly where you are, as being perfect and divine and exactly where you're meant to be, without wanting it to be different or expecting it to be different or placing a value or an expectation on it to be different, allows you to see the true wisdom, the true miracles, the opportunities, and the magic that exists right here, right now. So let me know. Does this video impact you? Do you feel a connection to neutrality that you might not have, understood or even thought about prior? I would love to hear any comments that you have about this video. I'm just kind of starting editing for the first time and playing with adding some value and some information to living a truly simple life. And when we separate ourselves from good, bad, right, wrong, blame, shame, and criticism, we really do see life as quite simple, and there's no resistance to where you are. And this is a huge practice for me as a highly sensitive empath, learning to, again, separate myself from complication, resistance, struggle, and hardship. Is the more I'm in this practice of loving where I am in this moment, the more simple and amazing and genuinely nourishing each and every experience, moment, and day is for me. So I'd love to hear in the comments below what stood out for you. If there's something you would love for me to talk about, so let me know. Let me know in the comments below what stood out for you. And I'm excited to come up with really nourishing videos for living a simple life as a highly sensitive person moving forward every single week on top of the energy forecast of the week. So stay tuned, subscribe, and let's get to know each other, and let's find the joy and the pleasure in just the simple moments of every day.